Stacy, could you do a roll call?
Alderman Bine,
Yes.
Here.
Alderman Davis,
Here.
Alderman Haywood,
Here.
Alderman Naquin,
Here.
The meeting formally begins then. Let us commence with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand up. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Request to address the Board of Aldermen. Nobody signed up. So we'll proceed for others to address the board. Oh,
Simon. Oh, wait, does anyone want to speak?
okay. You want to speak? Yeah. What is
Can you state your name and address?
similar? Is the Board of Aldermen and mayors of full compliance with the Sunshine Law for their meetings? That's a city attorney question. I defer that to the city attorney. Who isn't here at the moment? Right. Is it also acceptable for the mayor to slander and not understand his own ordinances? I don't know if he was in this speech on the radio, KQI. He was stating that I'm not naming any entities, but they was told that if it reaches 50% of the cost of the building, they would have to tear it down. That's your own ordinance. I would think you would have, as mayor, studying all this and not slander other people's entities. Because that can become a nightmare. Is that something you guys accept? And
I don't know what to tell you because I'm
you didn't listen to the radio broadcast and you knew it.
I didn't hear that.
That's all I do.
I believe that. I'll listen to it this evening, but I wasn't aware.
So, because you four are his boss.
Right.
So, I mean, you're already showing what's acceptable in Bourbon and what is going on. It's kind of starting to get quite ridiculous.
I'll definitely listen to it. You know what to say about it to you all for
Did you hear Mr. Davis?
No, not.
I just request that if the mayor is going to make any kind of speeches from now on, that he does his homework and study stuff that he is supposed to be responsible for before he starts slandering everybody again and again and again. Because eventually it will be held responsible. You're allowing him to run the city of Bourbon through the mud. And it's gotten quite ridiculous.
Did he do the interview in his mayor capacity?
Yep.
Also with Dan Gray,
Yeah.
the KQI podcast or whatever.
Morning show.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'm asking, are we going to continue to allow this or are you going to start holding people accountable?
Again, Tim, I haven't heard yet.
I know, so I'm just saying the big picture.
Of course, the videos in the sack got along. They would have fought for attention, of course, everybody would want to know.
Yeah.
So, but not knowing more about it, I can't even speak about it right at this point. I will listen to the podcast.
I would like a follow up on it, if you don't mind. And I also want to tell all of you that Chief here did an amazing job last Friday and greatly appreciated his assistance.
And what was that?
With you.
Oh.
Anyone else? On to administrative reports. One,
I have nothing to report yet. I did have a parent ask me if we were going to have police officers sitting down at the stop sign down in Springfield for the beginning of school just to see it right there for kids or supposed to see because of the buses. I told down at the bottom of the hill, where the three-way stop is, where the stop is Sullivan and the buses come out. They're just asking if there's going to be. I guess last year you guys sat there sometimes, and they're just they're just asking if they're going to have time to do that. Yeah, I think that it's just being in school year.
I have no administrative reports beyond what we're going to talk about in the infrastructure. There is one. I am meeting with Spire Energy on Monday. It's coming up Monday. On I believe it's the 17th. So, guy's name is Cliff. You're welcome to join if you want to.
Is this more on the natural gas?
Yeah. Spire Energy is
Yeah.
it's consideration. So,
What time is it?
we haven't established a time yet exactly. It's probably going to be around 11 a.m. But that's pending his confirmation. He asked me if I wanted to work. I said yes. And we're going to do it. It's good. Yes, working.
I would like to invite all of you to the fall festival on 9/11. Boosters will have a parade Friday night. Scott, did you get the parade? 9/11. And then there'll be music down on the stage in Festival Park and inside. There'll be fish sandwiches and games for the kids and just the normal fall festival stuff. Anybody wants to volunteer to help, let me know. And you can also write in the parade. I believe we have a sign that says Bourbon Tomato.
We have magnetic board decals upstairs.
Give me the date and time. I'll see if I can do it in this video.
September 11th.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. That's all.
Stacy, department head reports.
We're all getting settled in. Kathy and I have been working together, trying to learn from her. And she has a lot of responsibility. We're about to start organizing papers and things like that, and I'm getting some quotes for shredding, which I'll bring to the next council meeting for a shredder. And then with the state archivists yesterday, and we're coming up with a plan to go through our documents and see what we can archive and what can be destroyed.
Scott. Mark.
I was hoping to have something on the water power.
I want to give you a special thanks for doing a bunch of tree trimming work and landscaping around City Hall. It was an extra burden to you, so thank you.
Yeah. And I appreciate you doing the trees over behind the church too. Like Leroy said something, Oh, yeah.
Bob, our department, any updates, reports?
We got a new pole for the lights. You can walk through it. Waiting for it to get put up.
Skids for head planted.
There's a camera on that here too.
Oh, I didn't want to bring that last stuff. Part of this. They were, and then they just stick on there.
What was that from? Was that why they turned off? Because the wheel turned off?
Yeah. So maintenance new. I'm beginning to think it's about or the button is got there or something. The button's coming out. Yeah, keeps going. Okay. Any rectifying or anything been discussed about fixing that? Yes and no. Just need to get see if he has a number and calls his parts.
Anything else? Okay. On to new business then. Start with general infrastructure, kind of covered everything with the natural gas is proceeding along. Anything else on general infrastructure? Okay.
They been, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Any development on the sewer thing? Have you any worked off with that engineering company or anything?
Yeah, we had a lot of mistakes that can justify this. We had a lot of going back and forth with partner units. So we are doing a lot of what is required.
We're having a meeting, the mayor and I, and the city attorney are having a meeting next Tuesday before the council meeting. They've added an addendum to the bid that they'd like them to put on council back next week. It is monthly cost up to over $1,800. So I have some questions about it, and so does person from the CDGD. We're trying to look into these costs, and so but that's what it's being.
And that's just for that one project, right? So,
Well, it does include Joe's. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
mm-hmm.
And there's another little side streets like Sivan.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also all that's included in there. So to my recollection, without my paper, we have an $850,000 grant that will cover construction costs, but the rest of the cost will be offered to the city in the form of a low interest loan. And then we will have to do a water rate study and then say how we have to divide that into payments. So I'm really looking at engineering costs because I want to make sure that it's something that's affordable and that meets the cost. So I actually have another sewer engineering firm that's just kind of reviewing it, not because they didn't do anything with it, but just to let me know what they think of the cost.
My big concern and reservation on that is the city has flexibility to modulate the water rates mainly within a given ratio. And if it's too low or too high, the state will come in and force us to adjust. So to put this project, trying to get the pipe under I-44 fixed and the insulated pipes that feed it, may spike our costs up high enough that the state will come in and force us to raise our rates. And I do have concern about that. I would rather avoid that if at all possible. But trying, I'd be curious as to what your suggestions are on how we can increase our revenues to avoid having to do that. Am I mistaken in that assessment, Stacy?
At the current sewer rate, you're not covering the cost of what it costs to operate the sewer.
Right. Part of the problem is that we waited for years. There was no increase in water rate or sewer rate.
And so,
Years.
and I'm new here, and I understood that we did not have a sewer rate increase last year, but what that's gonna mean for people in Bourbon is, it's going, I think it's possible to double your school.
So what happens when you don't do that consistently is that you fall behind.
You can't make any upgrades, and everything just continues to deteriorate because you're not fixing anything.
And we're still running at negative line. I mean, right now, we're not bringing in.
I don't know, to be honest, I don't really want to comment on that, this without having to look at it.
The state has their own independent resources, and they will come, there is a good chance that they will come in and they will just say, this is what you're gonna do, and that's the way it's gonna be.
It has to be fixed. There's no question about whether or not it has to be fixed. The question is can you kind of look at the costs that they're giving us a little bit and try to get them to sharpen their pencil a little bit? And maybe not. And maybe just like, pare it down instead of just saying, you have all this money available and we're gonna charge you.
Anybody know?
That's what I'm trying to do.
Anybody know when our last increase was?
Well, we didn't start, it's been 3 years now that we've been increasing water. And that's the first that's been done in, I can't even tell you, long before me.
Okay. I don't never notice it going up much either anymore, that's why I asked.
It wasn't big increases, it was,
It was like 50 cents.
yeah. I mean, you
I
wouldn't,
didn't notice.
you would not probably have noticed it. But when you're so far behind,
The idea, the original idea was to raise it a minimum amount each year. So
that's
that,
right, get caught up.
so that we didn't fall far behind.
But we didn't, or-
We did when I was there, but I don't know if we did afterwards.
My concern, for what I was worth, is that in that part of the West report that Kathy put out from 2023, that report states that approximately 3/4-ish of sewage pipes are vitrified clay that was laid along the World War II. A lot of it's cracked, it's along I-9, rainwater comes in, and it's flooding people's houses, whereas previously hasn't flooded. Tim McFadden personally invited me to his house and showed me his basement, and it's a serious problem for him. And his insurance company is trying to sugarcoat it by saying, well, this is not for rainwater runoff from the creek. I can assure you it's not. The smell of sewage is overwhelming, and it is the sewage system that Bourbon has that is backing up. Now, whether that's his connection from the owns to the sewage or the well sewage, it's got to be at least partially the well sewage. The amount of sewage he and his family is producing is not sufficient to make the mess that is in his basement. I took pictures. I can get him a factory sensor out there if you really want it. But serious sewage is backing into his basement and has been for, according to him, a couple of years now. And he has history in that house. This wasn't an issue for at least 2 decades prior to that. So the sewage system is actively, rapidly falling apart due to deferred maintenance over many decades. Mark, you've been around long enough. Is that assessment about right?
Yeah, but most of that's where Imperial's driveway, their public pipes. It makes that lake down there. And you got 6 manholes underwater. Therefore, anything coming past him can't get past him, so therefore it just.
We have a meeting tomorrow. That's right. Perfect. So, wherever the INI is coming from, however, and wherever the system is broken, in general, this wasn't a problem before, it is a problem now. So the infrastructure is falling apart.
I don't think any of us would argue with the infrastructure thing. Any small town that you talk to is going to have the same problem because of how much it costs to fix things.
It does.
And but some of it is that we're not controlling where people build things. you know, I mean, this problem is one that Mark predicted and told them not to build it there.
It's gonna be on them to fix it.
And, you know, we have to quit just putting out fires and plan ahead and, pass some ordinances that will regulate where people go place and
Because if these folks would have been offered the same opportunity that we told the Lawrence boys, because did we tell the Lawrence boys they have to build up on stilts if they go where they tore down that barn by you? And that would have been told to these people, they wouldn't have this issue. So I agree with you. And now we tell them to build from now on too. If they're gonna build it to where it's gonna flood, it's just gonna cause another problem.
If I may interject,
Please.
you said earlier the gentleman that owns the house there has got history and up to the last decade.
According to him.
I get it. I've been around here. I know who the house is. But it was when Wheezy built all them houses and duplexes, I believe that's who it was. Was any of the extra sewage calculated in to see if it would handle the flow? Other than the manholes being flooded when I get that, but was there anything calculated? How many residences over there, Mark? 30?
Yeah, probably.
You
He
know?
put in a new system, but of course he tied into ours.
Right. So he just overloaded what has been basic getting by, and someone should have halted that then. You know, it's not, I know Paramount's leaching in from the manholes when it floods, but the extra runoff from the ground being developed, the asphalted roads, the curbing, and the sewage from the 30 some odd people, plus what you have up there at Half Crop, people coming in. So yeah, it's great that he put in new sewage, you know, everything on his end, but he pumped it into something that was already bare minimal getting by.
We get Lakewood now, and that's the other issue is Lakewood, their collection system is.
Well, Lakewood used to have a septic tank or a cesspool.
Yeah, they did not put in new line, they just put in a pump station and pump it straight to us. So we get all our rainwater, all our sewer. That's since Wheezy did his, but everything else that's added on to Kobe Street, all of that.
Is the pump station out on the end still serviceable?
Yes.
The overflow, that's basically what that is, isn't it? Overflow.
No, that's the pump station.
Oh, it is pump? Yeah, so
It gets everything in your
Watkins and that area. Okay.
That's actually the one that goes under the highway that's collapsed.
Mm.
The opposite.
doesn't any of this building or any of these things go through planning and zoning before they do it?
Yeah.
Well, shouldn't planning and zoning be doing that
Yeah.
when they come to them?
We discuss it, but nothing ever in writing.
This, you're talking about ordinances, all that. Are you guys going to hire an inspector? If you want to, if you're going to start enforcing codes, you got to have a certified building inspector.
Well, I don't think we're to that point. Scott's a building inspector.
That's more of an occupancy related to.
Yeah, they're hard to find, they're very expensive. Do you know anyone who does?
So, how do you guys? How do you guys hold her accountable? Well, if you go in and inspect and you're not certified, then
He's only taking occupancy.
it's still.
Like smoke out doors.
You still got to do the certification for it.
Do you know anyone that has that?
Right?
Do you know anyone that has it? Who's that?
They're not gonna come here.
Okay, that's the problem, isn't it?
That's not the problem. The problem is you guys are, have ordinances that you're enforcing with no backing.
There are solutions to this.
There's lots of solutions.
What are some that you have?
Kick out all your ordinances.
I would be open to that. Personally.
What you have to do,
That's not up to me though, it's up to the owner.
what you have to do, if you do that, then you gotta do all the law enforcement ordinances too.
The law enforcement ordinances have to match the state criminal code.
But the criminal code is a separate matter.
But you still have ordinances in there that are different than the state code.
So is that the only solution you have in mind?
No.
What other solutions?
Update them. Hire somebody or send Scott through training for it. And I'm sure he's got enough on his plate already.
He does? No. A new personnel would, a person with those certifications can use usually a high 5-figure to low 6-figure income. No. I am personal friends with the building inspector in St. Louis County. I'm not going to name his name, say where. We've friends with him for 20 years. It's hard to find those types of people.
This is Class 1 county too.
It's still hard to find those types of people. They are expensive.
I know several that are making right around 40.
You said not all of work with.
So I'm just gonna try to rein things in for a minute.
Please.
Obviously, we have a lot of problems, and I don't think there's anybody on this committee that thinks differently. But we're gonna need to stay focused on one problem at a time. And I'd love to solve all the problems. Our budget's not going to allow that. So we need to stay focused on the water issue that we have at hand. Maybe we need to. I'm going to start going to the meetings for the group that looks over the planning and zoning. Maybe we just need to have a nobody builds anything moratorium for a while until we can figure out what next steps need to happen. Problem with big problems are that you can let them get out of control. And I'm concerned that that's what happens every time you mention problem. I would personally prefer that we try to stay focused on the issue at hand with the water and try to knock these out in a reasonable chunk so that the people who live in this community can see that we're doing something instead of just talking about something. Talking about podcasts and ordinances and stuff that most of the people that live around here don't know half of that stuff.
If you had
Obviously,
guidelines though to follow, we wouldn't be in the predicament of what we are.
Well,
And it's more than water, it's the sewage is more than
right.
water.
So right now, that's our big
I agree
issue.
with this,
Okay.
yes, but we need to have current ordinances on the books, just like I'm getting ready to save money in my house over off the Watkins. I want to make sure that I follow. I need to put a roof on. I need to make sure I get a permit for if it is available. I've yet to receive my request on the building codes, current ones. The online 360 is so outdated. It's back from 78 when the fire department was still a city organization other than a district. So I want to make sure before I go sticking money in my house over off the Watkins that I abide by the city's code if they have it that relates to remodeling and updating the home. It's been here since 72. I've been part of this town all my life, so
So we have a lot of work to do.
yes, we did. We do.
But-
We update the ordinances.
Not online, you have it, Mary. Kathy
Yeah.
did it. It's been a long time.
Okay.
I put in the sunshine law or the sunshine request 2 weeks ago and I'm yet to get a response.
That's because you haven't picked it up. I tried to call you twice. And I gave you a message on your phone. It's upstairs waiting for you.
Oh, well, then I'll get it. I never received a message. I'm sorry.
So I
I
guess,
stand corrected. I will get them now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
but I guess what my point is that it's easy to get distracted.
Oh, it is. Yeah,
By
you
all
can chase
the other
down that
noise.
rabbit hole. Yes.
And we need to try to stay.
I'm with the water and the sewage. But we got to have ground rules
Understand.
so we know that
And
we
we
can't
have-
tie it into a 10-inch main. We need to do it on a 12.
We obviously have a lot of work to do.
Okay.
If I may, my name's Billy Woods. I live over there on the other side of the park. This might be a real stupid question, and if it is, by all means, just take it to me. But if we've got some issues with the water system and the sewer system and X, Y, and Z, why not focus all of your attention on, like you said, one problem instead of worrying about bringing infrastructure into burning the natural gas? Like why is that a question? Like why is that even?
It's a genuine question.
Yes.
Do you want a genuine
I really do. I really ask.
So it's actually really fascinating. We have micro scale problems that are directly ahead of us, like the water issue, dam towers, crack filling, but that's pushing sheet up bubble gum in the crack of a dam. And eventually you're going to have a dam made out of bubble gum. So the reason why building out infrastructure to reduce OpEx for businesses and residences is good is several reasons. Number one, it gives them more money in their pocket to reinvest in whatever they want. Typically, that's in themselves and their own businesses and their homes, etc. Economic development in general is what's going to solve these perpetual budgetary problems. I've talked to Mr. Pitts, that's his first name, he's the mayor of Cuba. I've talked to the mayor of Raleigh. I've talked to aldermen from a lot of small towns in the area, all the way up to Fenton. The small towns and rural areas almost universally are insolvent, and we don't know what exception it is. We are subsistent on state and federal grants to maintain the infrastructure that we have, and there's an economic self-fulfilling problems. Are you familiar with the problem of poverty? Like poor people tend to stay poor, and it's not necessarily their fault. Okay, so if you are a low income person, some of the things you can't do, for example, is buy toilet paper in bulk. You have to buy it one at a time. You can't buy food in bulk to get savings. You can't do things like that. And so you have to defer maintenance on the car, right? And so that ends up costing you more money in the long run. And that's an individual problem. Poor people do it. I only know because I am from. The same is true at the city level, where one of the things I want to discuss is crack filling on Route 66 and the ancillary roads. Crack filling has a 3 to 7 year ROI. But I'm looking at the budgets here, and we just can't afford to do it. We can put out a bid. We got several very reasonable bids and quotes for crack filling and for patching and for sealing. Striping's expensive. I just forego that. But we can't afford it in the budget. And what this means is that we end up deferring maintenance, and it costs us more money in the long run because water gets in the cracks, in the winter it freezes and pops the asphalt from it, and then you got to do a total replacement soon. So this creates a self-fulfilling cycle of economic dredge. If we have new infrastructure that comes in that reduces OpEx, if we have new businesses that come in that provide additional economic nexus, you can look at the term economic nexus, it has specific meaning in the realm of economics. It alleviates these budgetary issues, and then we can do more and better maintenance. And so you end up getting an economy that builds upon itself where we can spend more on maintenance, invest more in maintenance, and that reduces our long-term costs, which means that we have more money for more investment. And that's the beautiful and one of the most fascinating things about economic development and economics is that a well-running economy grows exponentially, not logarithmically. And we have a lot of unique opportunities here and in the region as a whole because we're not institutionalized yet. And so if we're talking about codes and ordinances and materials and building techniques, why is it we have smartphones? We still use candy stick phones. You look at the way the automobiles have evolved over 100 years. They don't look like Model Ts. We're not using, plywood thin wagon.
Can you bring this in again, please?
Hold on. You asked, well,
We're so far off. I'm outside already
So,
with the rain.
so
bring the infrastructure in. We are urban service. And if you bring that in, now what do you think that company's going to do? Next to lower rates, bring it in, target, like give a deal to everybody. Like, hey, if you switch all your costs over, that's what happened. Appliances don't run off of
What's this? What he's getting at is what's the cost expected per household to change over?
So
Have you reached
there's
that far
several.
yet?
We're working on that. There's
Okay.
several ways to go about
Then
this.
we're just speculating.
No, there's multiple paths to do this. Path one is the city owns it. The city buys natural gas in bulk and resells it to people in the community.
City can barely afford to keep the lights on.
So if the city buys it, the city would back that build out with a loan backed by the infrastructure itself. So it would be a completely separate fund and a completely separate project that has nothing to do with developing budgets.
What's the start?
So the startup costs can range. Right now, we're looking at between $7 and $15 million. It could be higher, it could be lower. But that's just path one, which is the city builds it out and works with Spire and other utilities. Path two is Spire builds it and they own it. Now, here's the thing about natural gas specifically. Natural gas is an alternative means of distributing energy in the same way that railroads are an alternative to trucking. Trucks and railroads compete with each other. They offer very different services in very different ways, and then they're very good at their respective niches. Natural gas is one way to distribute energy, and so with electricity. If the grid goes down, you still have access to thermal energy via natural gas. If grid electricity prices go too high, a company can invest in a generator, a high efficiency generator like the King's Power, and make their own energy for cheaper than the grid. So it keeps the grid prices in check by creating another competitor for the distribution of energy, and it provides resiliency through redundancy for distribution of energy. And that's just on the natural gas side of things. There's other opportunities that I was getting at too. So remember when I mentioned how Model Ts and cars and phones were decade 100 years ago? But our houses do. Our buildings largely do. The techniques haven't actually advanced that much. Why? Well, if you research it, people like Buckminster Fuller, who was a genius, in the 1940s and 50s, he designed what's called the Dymaxion stove. It's a portmanteau tube that stands for dynamically maximized tension. The idea here is that at the time we could repurpose all these aircraft platforms that were set up to make B-24s and B-17 bombers for the war that were being shut down to make modular homes that can be mass produced and assembled on site. He proved that they withstand 250-mile-an-hour winds, longer lasting, corrosion proof, cheaper, whole 9 yards. Could not reach commercial success because in most parts of the country, they were not buildable compliant. Here's another example. Our rebar, steel rebar. You lay it in with a foundation, road, doesn't matter. Columns, the concrete's porous. It lets moisture in, the steel rusts, the oxygen bonds to the ferrous, it expands, pops up from the inside out. I'm sorry.
Yeah, please. Well, I'm sure that more than answered your question. It probably didn't answer your question at all. So I'm gonna say I think it's separate. I think there are more than one path. There's a path that we need to be taking that's short term in front of us now, and that's the sewer and water. And there are long term economic development ideas that are out there that can run along a different path. It they're not on the same path. So, to your point, natural gas is not coming before water and sewer. But I do think that if we want to make progress, we have to have another path. We're, we're and I've been on the board now for how many years? 5, 6, I think. And there's still stuff that pops up that I'm like, oh, where did we get that from? That I have no clue where it came from. It's not like this stuff gets brought along with us. You know, aldermen come on board and they sit in your first meeting. I can remember my first meeting, and I'm sitting here going, oh, what does any of this mean? You get sort of drug along. There's not an easy road. So I think it's tough for people to understand sometimes, like why we can't make more progress than we do. But people, especially in this town, and I've worked in the city for 35 years, I'm thinking people here like to look back. And they're always telling me, like, well, so and so did such and such, and they're related to something. And I'm like, I don't know these people. I don't care who they're related to. I probably pissed off half the country. Doesn't matter to me. I just want to know what's the solution to the problem. I don't want to know who you married and who your cousin is. So I think that that's sometimes hard here to get things to move forward because everybody wants to talk about, like the gentleman here. He's been here forever, and he's pulling his information from what came from back here, and we're trying to go forward. And I think that sometimes makes it very difficult for people. Not that ordinances aren't important and inspectors aren't important. All that stuff's important, but we still have to stay on two paths. One looking to the future and one looking to what's our immediate need. Sorry.
No, thank you. Perfect. 100%. So I guess come to the
Fill in the cracks.
yeah, fill in the cracks. Kind of covered that in that big long diatribe. But yeah, on the crack thing.
So, in your packet, there's these. Mark, you got these right.
I got it.
Do you want a copy?
So here's my question, and maybe this is something I know Stacy's on overload already, but here's something that might help us going forward. In the past, on that time, we'll have it here. If we got something like this, where there were bids like this, typically somebody, mostly me, because I'm nosy, I turn around and say, Kathy, can we have money for this? Because there's the budget, and then there's the reality of what our bills are every month. Going forward, I'd love to be able to see and I do it for friends with friends, so I can kind of show you what I do. But I'd like to see sort of just a high level budget.
I can make an item agenda summary which shows what's in the budget
Yeah.
for the year, what's left
So
to
that-
spend.
So that we can go, because normally I go, Andrew, Mark needs a new pump, and I'm having to ask you, is there money in the budget for Mark to get a new pump? Or if we could see the rolling budget on a monthly basis, then that would be very helpful to me. I don't know what it is. Because right now I can't tell you, first of all, these are all over the place, and we need to get sealed bids if we're going to actually do this work. But I don't know that we have a budget. From what you said, we don't have a budget to even start.
Well, I'm looking at this, so if we look at capital expenditures other than contractable, which is that covers street supplies, street maintenance work. For a 9-month period, we have $14,832 to play. Just to do crack filling on Route 66, not even spanning through town, half of town, from Pine Street to the edge of town. The lowest bid I see here for crack filling and patching is 26 grand. Ceiling's 53 grand.
Right.
On top of that 26 grand, crack filling is the highest ROI following the ceiling. And the striping is just shy of 30K. Striping next to crack filling, we can full striping. I don't feel like spending 30 grand of taxpayer money for a line done. I've seen rural roads where they just put up a sign that says no central line. I've seen that.
Yes, there. I would be checking state regulations, especially if you're doing all 66.
I agree that in an ideal world, we would have a line down. I agree with that.
Well, that's not like
Right now, we don't have a line down the middle
A lot of
anyway
times,
because it's more than
ODOT will
lane.
do it when they come through.
Well, and given where we are with the budget right now, I don't think we need to worry about it because it doesn't look like we're going to get network.
Exactly.
So,
So
and it's only if we keep it under 75,000, they can get it cheaper. Because anything over 75,000, they got to be prevailing wage. Smaller streets, things like that.
That's right.
Why are these estimates so far apart?
Well, they did theirs. It's so high because they couldn't do all the patchwork. Which I thought I was going to do patchwork.
Yeah, these aren't apples to apples. I mean, these aren't apples to apples. This is
100,
more like what we guess what you want. Where if you could put it out for a sealed bid, you're going to give them exactly what you want. I want this parking lot done. I'm not going to have this. Give me a bid for sealing and patches. And that.
What you get from these
Yeah.
No, I got that off.
I've gotten a lot of calls where that
You hit that bump coming in town. I mean, they did that on purpose. Like, hey,
So once we get our budget,
we do it, then they might be mad.
Well, I just thought maybe just take off that bump a little,
yeah. But once we get our budget and we know where we're at, maybe we can put it out,
Yeah, we should get more.
street by
This was
street,
just more of a
maybe.
guesstimation.
Yes. Maybe we can put it out like street by street or something because this is we don't have any part. Okay.
We have them in that strike down.
It's fine.
Yeah, I remember.
I think you're
And I don't know if I walk that far.
But yeah, I mean, our choice is basically, if you defer maintenance on crack filling, we'll have to tear up and replace the whole thing. Or just let it, I guess, get reclaimed to the earth and become a gravel road, and then I guess we legally don't need to spike it. That would be very not ideal.
No.
In the past, when we had stuff done, MoDOT actually, when they come through,
Would help.
they would strike and go a little period there without it.
And if we can do that, that's
Anybody will call that we do line guys.
We live in a world of scarce resources. Any resources you give to one thing is an opportunity cost for another. It's about figuring out what health is the highest ROI.
We do, however, need to address the tank inspection.
Yeah.
I thought it looked very good.
Hmm?
I mean, they didn't really find any big problems in it.
No, they and our thought it was leak.
So does this get sent to them now?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's getting sent to them.
And so when is our next rotation for which one of our towers?
That's what I was hoping to have more info on that. You see, me and Sky talked to the gentleman that day, and
Okay.
he has not got back with any numbers or figures. Basically, the same deal as we did at County Country Bank. It would
Right.
just be the high school.
So this is an example of where we have made progress. So we've got something in place. We've got it on a routine clinic. We don't want to let go.
No.
So we're back to where we're digging around.
Unfortunately, even though it's paid for now, you almost got to start all over.
Yes, I got it. Okay.
And it's never going to go away.
But they say it's in good shape.
Yeah. That's the one they just did when Danny was married. Repainted in the same place.
Okay.
But my DNR inspection, it was very water. DNR, he was convinced that that hole that goes to the pump, pumping that cold water up there, and it just gets warm like it's raining, like soda.
You don't seem to have very luck with DNR.
No, we do not.
Apparently not.
They claim they're here to help, but I have not quite seen it.
I'm going to repaint it because I don't like the wall.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get no say so. Yeah, I thought the school should have paid for it.
Yeah.
It's hard to even tell what it is.
Yeah.
In an ideal world, everything would be beautiful, but really understood critical vision takes precedence in this world. Your thoughts on that? We do also have to cover this. Was this in the one?
No, it's for
No,
next
that's
week.
her.
It's
It's
for
for next week.
Yeah, she's talking. She's talking here.
Yeah.
She's making around. And she told me to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think she went through for. That's okay. Like, okay.
Well, I agree that she has a real problem, but it's her
That
contact.
part of it is crazy. He said, oh, it's never flooded before.
Well,
That's why he never built there.
that's who she needs to be talking to.
You know, and unfortunately, that is one of these problems that you know. She said, well, he said that nobody told him he couldn't.
Yeah, the good old boy system has failed.
Well, and that's what I said. I'm like, you know what? You don't expect him to stand up and say, "Oh, I knew it and knew it was going to flood and I'm glad you bought it." He's not going to do that. Nobody's going to do that.
Sadly, he built it. He know it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's for next week. We got a whole week.
Yay!
There's more information coming next week.
Oh,
Unfortunately, in her world, you put another pipe in, it solves her problem, but it just pushes everything on to the next pipe.
We'll save it for next week.
Any other business?
Motion to adjourn.
Second time.
Roll call.
All in favor?
You don't need a vote. I want to adjourn.
They adjourn.
Second. Good evening.